Hello, everyone. My name is Mark from the Misplay Podcast, and you're listening to Eternal Journey, everyone's favorite Eternal podcast.
Welcome to Eternal Journey, the podcast.
Greetings, all my knights and Pantawans. You are listening to Eternal Journey, the podcast that talks about all things eternal with a focus on limited play. I'm your host, Jedi, and for episode 120 of the podcast, we are going to have the Eternal World Champion on the show talking about next year because, as we'll get into in a minute, he's already done his interview, and I don't want him to regurgitate his things 3 times for you guys to listen to, so we're going to change it up. But first, I want to welcome on the show my usual friend, as always, John Holio. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
And unfortunately, due to adulting, good friend Alex isn't able to be here. But once again, we have World Champion TheOvermaster on the show this week. So, Alex, we will miss you. But, hey, World Champion Overmaster, welcome on the show, buddy.
Hey, what's up out there?
Man, happy to have you. Thank you so much for making the time for us.
I told him I can talk about worlds. I can talk about all that, but they insisted on me talking about next
Organized play season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. We're going to set you up so you're setting up your competition for success. I know. It's horrible. Real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. Just want to give a shout out to people that support the show. Really do appreciate you guys. You guys rock. Scarlet Harlot, Dizzy Sick, Old Rich, John Holio, again, you rocking guy, dude. I feel like you subbed to me more than most people, dude. It's like, I feel like it's every week that you're subbing back to the channel. I appreciate it.
Once a month.
All right, fair enough. The Jim Joe and Chastity Weaver, thank you guys so much for the ongoing support. Really do appreciate you. And Owen swung by today, showed some love to the channel. That guy's great. Something the other last week, I think I had the chance of actually rating him for once, which is weird because he normally streams all through the weekend night when I'm at work or not online. So that was interesting. I guess he did a bonus stream or something like that. But anywho, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. We really do appreciate you guys. Well, shoot, I guess we could do a pack one, pick one, right? We normally do that, don't we?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we totally should. And see, because the Overmaster does have a hot take for the format, apparently, is what the secret sauce. That's why you weren't streaming for Worlds. Let me see if this is the one I got today. Okay, this is the one I got yesterday. All right, cool. This is actually a pretty spicy one. You guys aren't going to see it because I just pulled it up. So I guess I could share my screen. Hold on. I got you. Let me share my screen. This one looks like that. Can you guys see that?
Yep. Yep.
All right, cool. And then
All
right, and then let me get it up on. I think this is it. Nope, that's not it. Gosh darn it. Hold on. I'm trying to get it on the.
That is a spicy one.
It is, isn't it? Like I was like, I have to pick from this. Like, oh sweet Jesus. Man, that is weird. I can't get it on the screen for some reason. All right, I guess. Sorry, guys, listening or watching this on YouTube. You just have to follow on with Theater of the Mind. Okay, so Theo, you've got point on this one. Let me go through it real quick. In the commons, we have Lava Blood Rager. This is a 5/5 Sentinel for 6 red. Contract 3, exhaust, and deal 1 damage to an enemy unit. What? No wonder I've never played this guy. This is ridiculous. Exhaust 3 to deal 1 damage on like turn 12? Whatever. Keep your distance. Great fodder. It's always the last pick. We'll move on. Carnosaur Beta is a 5/5 dinosaur for 7 time. And then Inscribe and Revenge. Grenadin Rescue is a spell for 2 red. Play 2 1/1 Grenadins and deal 1 damage to the enemy player. Dismantle is a 1-time Inscribe at fast speed. Kill an enemy attachment with cost 4 or less. Torgov's Wear is a spell for 2 Elysian. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card and gain 2 life. Unseen Marksman is a 3/3 Unseen for 2 Argenport. And then contract 3, give an enemy unit -1 health permanently. And then finally, Tensky Saboteur is a 2/1 rogue for 3 shadow. Revenge, when Tensky Saboteur right? I did say, yeah, Tinsky Saboteur attacks. The enemy player discards the top 2 cards of their deck. All right, so before we get into the uncommons and rare, Overmaster, what are you looking at in these commons, if any?
Commons? If I were, I mean, I regularly pick Carnage to Beta first pick, first back. That card is that card's sick. It has Inscribe, and it's just a bomb. Like, I mean, you put Killer on it, just. I don't know if I've ever done it before, but if you put Killer on it, coming back as double revenge, double killer, and things like this, and yeah, it's just one of those cards that you really want as an inscribed card because it's both powerful and also it's just you can splash itself almost. Like if you get like 2 or 3 betas, you can easily splash itself. Like it's just strong. Other than
Nice.
that, like Unseen Marksman is okay. I don't know if it's strong enough to first pick first pack in most packs, but I mean, it's there.
All right, fair enough. Now, I doubt these are going to make the cut because the uncommons, and actually I'll just cover the rare as well because I don't think the rare is that great. I think you're fine playing it, but whatever. These uncommons, though, are stacked. So, starting off right to left because I'm weird like that, Stolen Augmentation is a fast spell for 3 Argenport. Give one of your units +1/+1 and an enemy unit -1/-1. Winvoke Argenport. Toxic Wisp is a 1/2 Wisp for 1 Shadow. Contract 2, give a unit +1/+1 and deadly. Cloudline Shaman is the last uncommon. It's a 3/3 Shaman Serpent for 5 blue. Aegis, contract 4, play a 3/3 Sky Serpent with flying. And then finally, our rare is going to be Only the Beginning. This is a fast spell for 4 Shadow, inscribe, then play 3 units from your void that died this turn. It is a fast spell, so you could do it on your opponent's turn, but yeah, this turn. All right, Theo, let us have it, buddy.
Well, Only the Beginning, I've actually played that card multiple times in draft at this point, and it's really not very good. Like you would think that you could set up situations where that card is, backbreaking, but I haven't seen it. Or I haven't neither seen it nor done it before. So that's definitely off the table for me. I would pick, for example, Carnage Debater or Unseen Marksman over Only the Beginning. However, the 3 uncommons, Solo Augmentation is probably the best invoke card. It's just bar none, probably the best one. Sweet Dreams is up there as well. I actually like Sweet Dreams better. It plays more to my style, but Stolen Augmentations I think is in general better on average. And then Cloudline Shaman is just well, it's one of the bombs in the uncommon direct. Maybe Cloud Scraper is. Oh, I mean, Cloud Scraper is better than it, but like Cloudline Shaman is pretty up there. And then Toxic Wisp can do a bunch of things. I think it's. I don't know. I haven't had a huge amount of success with Toxic Wisp, let's say, but it's still one of those contract units that gives a unit +1/+1. And you could put it on something that's interesting. Like you could, it gives a deadly to a unit, so you can do things like I don't know, put like a ice bow on it from the other pack or things like this. That
Stormcaller.
Yeah, exactly. Stormcaller. Well, I mean, yeah, you could actually make Stormcaller into a real card. I usually don't play Stormcaller. Yeah, that card's.
I don't either, and yet every time my opponent plays it, I just get freaking wrecked by it every time. Oh.
Last time I faced against the card, they had 2 of them, which is of course one of the few ways that it could actually be good is if you have double ping. But yeah, I think I would take out of this pack. I would take Stolen Augmentation, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. I can definitely see that for sure. That's the hot take from the World Champion. John, do you have anything to add?
Not really. I also would take Stolen Augmentation. Like, I know it's like double pip card, but honestly, so is Cloudline Shaman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like with the contract, like Theo said, I think the Cloud Scraper is a little bit better at this point in the format. Yeah, I love 4 or 5 color Windvoke decks, and even if I don't end up there, like I think Augmentation will very likely make my deck if I'm at least base one of the colors on it. I'll still find a way to splash it. So easy pick for me.
Yeah, I'm with you guys too. I mean, Windvoke and it's 2 colors that you're perfectly fine splashing late. because the inscribed cards in those colors are fantastic.
Yep.
I finally had a chance to play Cloudline Shaman. I think it was last weekend, and I got 3 of them in my deck. And oh my god, that card really is busted. Like it literally is the first time I get to play it in this format because blue's just not really been there for me. And like, oh man, I was like, okay, this card is sick.
I,
So yeah,
I had a Cloudland Shaman in my World's draft deck.
ooh,
Yeah, I played 4 faction as well, so I played Cloudland Shaman 4 faction. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta go all in at
yeah.
in a World's competition.
Fair enough, man. I mean, fortune favors the bold, right? And if anything, you've got the record to back it up. On that, you know what? Let's go ahead and use that into a segue. Like, I don't want to go into Worlds too much, but I actually wouldn't mind taking some of your takes on the current format because you actually didn't stream on purpose to give away any of your draft strategies. So why don't you talk to us a little about that? But since we are a draft focused podcast, like, because you're all about splashing and playing 4 or 5 faction decks, correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, break it
Yep.
down for us, man. Like it worked out great because Alex is typically our 5-color guru. So go ahead and give us the tech, man, because people are, watching me. I'm a very conservative drafter. Like I'm the guy that drafts 2 colors and I still get power screwed. So like it's I don't even want to talk about it. Go ahead, go ahead and break it down. Like what is that like your go-to? Like you're looking to splash as much every single time you draft, or is it kind of something that you pick up depending on what draft is feeding you?
I think most of the time I'm looking to do it. It depends on how the opening packs go, obviously. So there are some things that you can and can't do with the strategy. So there's inscribe itself is a splash mechanic. You can actually use those cards to splash. You can't do it like you can't have 0 fixing and do it. Although I've done it and been okay. It's been okay, right? It's never. I don't know if I've had a 7-win draft without any fixing, but it has come close. It has come close with 0 fixing. Where you use just inscribes to fix for the so what you have to do is, of course, you have when you're looking at packs, sometimes you have to take like a tome or a banner over something that's very, very good for your deck, right? In order to do this kind of thing. So that's like so that's one of the things that you have to do. But that's kind of like not taking your bomb rare that you opened up in 4th pack that's not in your colors, right? That's kind of like that. You just have to be a little bit more disciplined. Whereas if you open up a bomb rare in your last pack, you're not in the colors, you're just not going to pick it, right? You can't pick it. You're not being disciplined at that point. You just can't do it. Whereas in the inscribe, you're in the inscribe 4 faction winvoke strategy, whatever you want to call it. That is a you just have to think about it a little differently, right? So like I said, the Carnosaur beta in the first pack actually time has let's see, hold on one second. Let's look at time. So time has as the inscribe beta, and yeah, Lost in Thought is not very good. And Dismantle not very good, right? A Kicklet Monks and Cloud Scrapers, although I will say Cloud Scraper, you almost never like. I will inscribe it, but like, that is not a card you would generally want to inscribe. And then Valor Silence, it has some bad ones, but also some good ones, right? I think that time is the base of most of these colors, most of these most of these drafts, because it has Nurturing Sentinel in the in the second and third pack. Honestly, it's really weird to think about as Nurturing Sentinel as sort of the backdrop, but like you get so many of them, they come so late. I think Cass put on people like he doesn't like the card very much, and so people watch his stream and then they don't pick it up, and then I get to feel good and good. It's it's okay in regular like 2 faction decks, but in 4 faction decks, boom, you get like a certain percentage that you can get the other colors and stuff. It's just it's been very good for me. So
Well, on that note too, the one thing I've noticed personally with this format is that I feel like the power level in packs 1 and 4, i.e. the Cold Hunt packs, are significantly higher than in the eternal packs, the draft packs. And so yeah, I mean, most of the time you're picking up your filler cards, right? So I can easily see, like you said, you're missing out on a C or a C minus card to get fixing there, and then you really make your money where you get to play all the best cards from pack 1 and 4.
Yeah, but even in packs like 1 and 4, you might have to take like a tome or like an inscribed card, a good inscribed card like eavesdrop or something like that, in order over something like some other card that's not let's see, commons and uncommons. Like I don't know, a kind of example that I would say, like, let's say Marison's Legacy comes by. I mean, Marison's Legacy is hard to splash, but I mean, I have done it. I have run those 4 faction decks and done that. But you might not take the Marison's Legacy, right? Or you might not take, like, for example, I don't know, like like a Searing Fist or something like that. You might have to take a tome or inscribed card over a Searing Fist. Although I don't know, I think fire is really hard to make work in these 4 faction decks. It's a little bit harder. I feel like the fire is more of a 2 faction strategy because it's more aggressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just much more aggressive, and you generally don't want to. It has Captain, which is a great splash and a great card, and Searing Fist at common. Like, those 2 cards are great, but the rest of them are just, especially in the second and third packs, the draft packs. The fire is not. It's okay, right? But it's lends itself to more of an aggressive strategy, I think. Although at Worlds I played fire, you know. So sometimes you just get the cards. Like, I had a Frostburn, for example. Frostburn's one of the better win vote cards. Like, what are you gonna do, right? You if you get a Frostburn, you got to play fire.
Duly noted. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty busted. I'm not gonna lie. You're not wrong there. So that's man, that's, I don't know. I have a hard time personally doing 5 color because it's just me. It's a personal thing. John, where are you at on going 4 and 5 colors in this format?
Oh, I love it. My drafting style is pretty similar to Theo's in this format. It sounds like, I I don't know that I think most of my decks are 4 color and not a full 5. And I don't think I really lean like a specific 4 factions. Like, if I go and look back at my 7 win decks, they're just all over the place. Like, some are missing time, some are missing Shadow or Justice. It's like just whatever powerful cards I got, whatever inscribes and fixing I got, is just kind of how the packs shake out for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like Carnosaur Beta. I don't know. That's why time is my most drafted faction probably in this format.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. Like, with packs 2 and 3, time has like just a little bit more fixing than the other factions, and it's like that basically in every format, right? You get like the Amber Acolyte, and you get, like you said, the Sentinel. It just kind of, and when you get enough tomes and banners and stuff, like, the number of sigils in your deck can actually be quite low, which like super increases the chances of getting your splash colors with the Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that it increases that because it's normally maybe I don't know.
I mean, like, if your sigil count is literally like 5.
Yeah, but normally I don't even play like that many tomes. That's the secret. That's the secret to this strategy, is that it's like 2 tomes and you're good. You just have to have, like, seven
Must be
inscribes,
nice.
7 inscribes or something like that. But like, your inscribes or your splash, it's insane. I don't know. I think inscribed is way more busted than what people are letting on, or
I love Inscribe. I am perfectly fine with it becoming evergreen. I just like the fact that any mechanic that smooths out your draws and takes away non-games, I think is fantastic on both sides of the board, from my opponent and for me. The only thing is, I'm the kind of person, and you guys have seen it on my stream, where I sit there with a beta in my hand, and I'm like, I'm at 6 power, I'm good, I don't have to inscribe it. 8 turns later, still sitting at 6 power, be like, sweet baby Jesus, why can't? And then I'm like, fine, I'll inscribe it. Then I draw the power. I'm like, son of a. So,
I have a random question for Theo. Like, if, like, regardless of the other cards and like the format, like, just as a mechanic, Do you think you prefer Inscribe over Plunder?
No. Well, I don't know. Plunder's a more powerful mechanic,
Mhm.
in general. So I don't know which one I prefer in that regards. I think that you have to balance Plunder a little more effectively. Like they already ran into trouble, right? With they're running into trouble with Exploit, and they already ran into trouble with Maveloff Hunters and things like this, right? Like I think that it's just much more hard. It's much harder to balance Plunder. So I would prefer like I know this is kind of a weird take because Plunder is of course leads to non games just like Inscribe, right? But like I think Plunder is something that needs to stay on the shelf for a little while because
Okay.
you can't put it on too many powerful cards or else it's just gonna, especially things that it costs 2 or less. That's I think that's the key. Maybe you could put Plunder on a bunch of things that are like cost like 4 or 5 or whatever, and then by that point it's like shrug. So sometimes it's just like shrug because you're not actually fixing early. Uh, and Inscribe, I think they've done a good job of balancing it. So maybe seeing play forward. I don't know. These things are hard to think about because if you put Inscribe on just a bunch of new cards and like a bunch of new, like you have an entire set of Inscribe or something like that, and then the game is just way too consistent, right? And then you lead to, sure, you take away the quote unquote non games, but you also get boring gameplay
Right.
at some points too, right? So you need to have some variance. You actually need a lot of variance in order to change the way the game plays every single game, right?
Yep.
Um,
The
so
the one thing I will say that I don't miss about Plunder, and I think it goes back to what you were saying, Theo, as far as going with cheap cards that have Plunder, is the 5 minutes that the opponent tanks while they're trying to figure out whether to plunder something or not, you know?
I mean, I was probably one of those people too. It's hard.
Oh
It's a
yeah,
hard
I mean I
mechanic to
am as
use.
well. It's definitely not the easiest thing to do, and I feel like I messed it up half the time at the very least. So, like I said, it wasn't a thing towards the players. It was just the way that mechanic played out, right? Because you kind of, if you have the chance to plunder early, you really want to sit there and look at your 6 cards in your hand and be like, okay, do I need the plunder? Do I not? Should I get the treasure? Should I make a power? And versus late game, it's significantly easier. Kind of like back to what you said, where when the cards are more expensive, you either you can play them, and then by that point, you know whether you need a power or you need to draw more gas, etc. So,
Yeah, it's not
um,
really a choice at that point. You just have a power in hand, and you just oh well, I guess I get a treasure trove and an extra draw. But like and that's cool. That's great because it mitigates flood and whatnot. But like it's not really a decision at that point. It's
Mhm.
whereas
I mean,
early on it is a decision. It's a huge decision, right?
yeah. And then it does lead to some interesting deck building as well, right? Because if you have something that you could sink your power into late game, something like Joe or something like that, or one of those random pay 3, pay 4, pay 5, draw an extra card, or what's his face? The new what's the junk Wyatt, right? Where you
Wyatt.
can
Right.
play the top card
The
of your deck. So
trash
that
man.
yeah,
He's
so that kind of
garbage.
makes interesting deck building where it's like, some decks, as soon as you get to 5 power, you can get rid of all the other power, and then other decks have ways of capitalizing on that extra power. So it's really interesting. Same thing with Svetya, right? It's like, do you want to hold on your 7th and 8th power for when you draw Svetya, or do you want to just keep playing power so you can do more than you have a higher chance of double spelling in a turn? So I think there, based on your deck building, there could still be some decision points there for sure. But I do agree. Cheap cards with plunder is like, I get the reason for it, right? Because if you need power, it'll become power for you. But at the same time, when you don't or you have a decision, it's like, all right, we gotta climb, we got a timer. Let's get this going. Good question, John. Really good question. But all
Thanks.
right, with that, let's go ahead and make a shift into organized play for the 2022 season. Um, Starting off first, let's just take a big broad stroke to get the conversation open. And I initially thought this was more money, but then I realized that it was spread across the entire thing. I forgot where I read it now. I think what was it? No, it was. I think it
100K.
was. It's 100K for the whole season,
Yeah,
and
it's the same as
yeah,
last season. It's the
yeah,
exact same.
which is great. I mean, I think that's solid. Like it did go down from the year before, right? If I remember correctly, like it went down last year, but not by much. I think it was like maybe 150 or was it 200,000 for
Um,
the.
I think the second and third seasons were the same amount, and the first season was more.
Got you.
That sounds right.
But yeah, but I mean, so that I take it as a good sign, right? That they, at the very least, they liked what they saw this year and they're comfortable keeping it the same. So I think that's a good sign in stability versus, them coming back with like, hey, it's 75,000 for the season now, right? So, I mean, surface level broad stroke, I think that right there is a good thing. And obviously it's helpful too because it rewards the players, right? Especially our international players, people that are not US based, that exchange rate definitely makes it very feasible for them. Like our good friend IP Longno, when he took down one of the tournaments, one of the opens, he was like, hey, my bills are paid for a month. So that's a really big deal, I think. So I think that's a good sign there. Anything to add on that, Theo?
Well, I mean, yeah, in Canada, like the exchange rate is pretty nice for us. With regards to not gonna complain about that for sure. That there's a lot of money to be up for grabs. There's a lot of money up for grabs still. Like there's 9 opens. Like that's still a significant amount. That's a significant amount of cash. I think they
Yeah.
haven't changed a single thing about the structure of the payment, and I think it was actually fine. Like I think that instead of it being like 2 grand or something like that at the top, like for winning the tournament,
Yeah.
you won the tournament, you get qualified for Worlds, which is extra money. Like it was probably a little bit too much there.
Yeah.
In my opinion, is still too much for like winning Worlds, like actual the Worlds competition. Like the it's just when one of the things I described in my interview was the amount of anxiety and like how much my heart was racing and stuff, and I'm like, worried me on a health. Let's say it worried me on a health base, and because we were playing money matches for like $4,000 and $5,000, and that's just insane to think about. A one match for $4,000 and then one match for $5,000. Like this is just man. I don't even
You
know.
wouldn't mind some of that world's like spread to be spread out between like the opens a little bit more, is what you're saying?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to change it, but it was bad.
Fair. I
I
mean, at the
understand.
very least, you handled it well. So,
Yeah.
on that note, to cover that breakdown, so real quick, they already announced when Worlds was gonna be, which is sweet. It is actually in 2022, which is nice. So they're ahead of the game there. It's gonna be December 16th and through 18th. So during the holiday season. So unfortunately, the Direwolf people are gonna have to work a little bit right before the holiday break, but at least we know it's gonna happen this year. So we may see a longer break from one competitive season to the next. But people need a break, and I think it's nice for people to step away. The
So
way the Go ahead.
I the fact that they're actually announcing dates this far ahead is just amazing. Obviously, they're subject to change, but this is something that has never happened before. You always just never knew when the next open would be. You knew approximately when it would be, but you just never knew, right? And now you
Mm,
just know. Now you just know when you could take time off for work or whatnot, right? Like for Worlds, for example. Let's say I get a job. Anyway, so I know to tell my place of employment that this either week or weekend or whatever, right? It's like booked
mhm.
off. Like I might win a ton of money here. So yeah, but like you can't do that. For example, if you recall, the LCQ, um, the LCQ that for invitational only players, right? Um, that was changed. That was changed. It was moved ahead a week or something like that, and right smack dab into Sunnyvale's wedding. And of course, he couldn't call it all. Couldn't call it as a wedding to play in an LCQ, right? So that kind of thing, like, kind of annoyed us competitive players, right? And they just have it now, and that's just a big change that I moving forward.
No, I agree, especially for people that've been working towards it, the whole year trying to make it work. They get another chance and end up because of quote unquote real life or adulting, they're unable to, especially when it's the last minute. And I mean, Colosso MA definitely mentioned it on the misplay where, they're in the medical field. They can't just on the drop of a hat take time off. They have to coordinate. And so the further advanced they have the ability to do that, the higher the chances they have to make it happen and make it, accommodate. So I definitely agree. I think it's absolutely amazing that they're getting their stuff together here. And, shout out to Patrick Sullivan. I think he's doing great things for the game. I don't think he's the only one that's making changes happen, but since he's been back, he's been kind of the face of Direwolf for the moment, and I think great things are happening, to include the draft changes that are now permanent, which I think is awesome. There are going to be 16 seats for Worldies again. The number 1 seat goes to the defending world champion, TheOvermaster.
Hi.
yeah, exactly. So all year long, you're gonna you get to still compete in the opens, but you have that safety net that you're gonna get the invite regardless. 9 winners of the monthly 5Ks. So every month we're going to have a 5K with rotating formats of Throne, Draft, and Expedition like we had this past year, which I think is absolutely fantastic, giving everyone a chance to go to Worlds and just changing up the things so it's not stale. Those are 5K opens. We'll go over the breakdown here in a moment. 1 last chance qualifier like we saw, and then they're leaving 5 seats to be announced. These are going to be at their discretion that they'll talk about. They've talked about, I think at one point they initially talked about giving it to like predominant, was it? Or was that Magic? I don't remember now. We're like predominant like content creators for the game or whatnot. But
no,
those have just been rumors from prior years and stuff.
Patrick Sullivan has made it very clear that he does not like that aspect of things.
Cool. No, I'm 100% for that. Like, even as a quote unquote content creator for Eternal, I think organized play slots should go to organized people. It's not difficult for content creators to play in these tournaments either. So
I think I saw on Telemachus's TNE Discord, like they were just still hammering out like details. So they just hadn't like hard announced those yet. But it sounded like some of them were going to go to like community tournament winners again this year and things like that,
which is great. I think that's awesome. I think that is great because Telemachus does a fantastic job. Him and his team do a great job on the Tuesday Night Eternal tournament. So I definitely think giving them the old kind of pat in the back, legitimizing them, adding legitimacy to what they're doing, I think is fantastic. So whether they're going to get all 5 seats or not, we don't know yet. We'll see. But yeah, so that's how Worlds is going to break down for this year. The opens are going to be 5Ks like we talked about, but there are going to be some interesting changes, and those are one of the things I wanted to talk about as well. So we'll start off, since you had mentioned the prize support, we'll go ahead and start off with that. I believe this is actually the same breakdown, but we'll break it down for all the new players. There are 5K opens, which means it's going to be 5 grand spread across the top 8. First place gets the world invite plus $1,500. Second place gets $1,000. Third and fourth gets $650 USD, and then 5th through 8th get $300. So is that kind of a spread you're a little more comfortable with, Theo, or what?
Yeah, that's the same thing as last year. It was a pretty good, comfortable spread. It still was kind of ridiculous thinking about like playing a match for $500, but well, what are you gonna do, right? Like that is like that's not that much for. Well, it is a lot. I'm not saying it's not that much. I mean, for a high level tournament, that's not that ridiculous to think about playing for $500 in a match. But yeah, I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it seems fine for me. I got no issues with it, and the fact that you can do it every month is kind of sweet as well, right? I think you can kind of get your taste of it and give you enough time to prep for the next one, not feel overwhelmed and whatnot. I like
the space. I like the space this year. Like sometimes you get too many tournaments like back to back, and you do feel the pressure and the and the burnout for preparing for two tournaments back to back. Like let's say they're separated by 2 weeks. It's just not. It's not realistic to be able to prepare for 2 different formats for 2 separate weeks, especially if you're preparing like me and my team does, right? Where you're just like for a week before a tournament, basically every single day you're in voice call, like going over and hammering out details for the tournament, right? It's just
so So this is something that they're adding here, which they kind of did somewhat for the last chance qualifier, but this is something that's really interesting here. Players who reach the top 4 of more than one open will receive a World Championship invite. Several competitors reached the World Championship in 2021 through this pass, so even if you don't win one of the opens, you can still qualify through consistent finishes. So I like this because they kind of acknowledge the fact that in these card game tournaments, like there has to be a little bit of luck, right? Things have to go your way just a scotch. You have to be a good player, you have to have the right deck, etc., etc. But sometimes luck does play a role, right? You can have an answer to a card in your deck, but if you don't draw it, well, then you get ran over, and vice versa. So this rewards consistent play, which I think is great for people like you and for like John that are consistently good players that may not get that, luck go their way. So I think this is solid. This is probably where, maybe one or two of those to be announced slots goes to. I could see this, but I like this. I think that's one of the benefits of Eternal being not a huge game, where they can kind of throw this little clause and disclaimer in there, and it's okay. If they did it to if a million people were playing Eternal, I don't think they can do this, because you'd still have like so many different, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they could do it because then the top end is so much more competitive. I don't know. What do you think, John?
Well, only this happened last year as well. This top 4 thing for two players. For if you top 4 twice, you get in the Worlds automatically. The 2 players got that last year, Kolokoma and Phoenix, and honestly, they're my scariest competitors, to be honest. Besides my teammates, right? But like, geez, like imagine. I mean, I guess the entire world competition was scary, but like the consistent play from those 2 players, like Kolokoma reached it in like the first 3 tournaments. It was just disgusting. Like
Right.
I don't know how, but like it's just. I hope to be one of those people one day. I guess to get two top 4s. It's just it's not something that I think about heavily.
Shoot, man,
It's hard to do.
I'm just trying to consistently make day 2. These guys are consistently making top 4, huh?
Yeah.
John, how do you feel about it?
No, it's great. Like rewarding consistency. Like I think it takes a little bit of the pressure to spike tournament, right? Like if you're a consistent player, like it's just another avenue to get to Worlds, which is what I think anyone playing competitively is like one of their goals. So I love it. I think it's a great way to do it.
Notably, notably, I think that there should be more slots awarded to consistency. I think there should be a point system where you
I don't disagree.
qualify for Worlds. Like the top, like let's say, like the last couple of slots, right, are awarded via points, like directly. Like for example, Papatito and Rank. I believe those the 2 players. They made they day 2'd every single time last year. Every single time they were in the day 2, and it's like, wait, those people aren't in Worlds? That's really weird, right? I mean, that's not necessarily like a given that you would get into Worlds just because you day 2. Like, I mean, you could top 64 is like still, if you just top 64 9 times in a row, that's not Worlds. That's not necessarily Worlds call. It's still hard to do, but like it's. But I think that a point system, like for example, the Sunnyvale and Stormguard run FETL, the fantasy league, right?
Mhm.
Had like point system, right? We had like teams and whatnot, right? But like you could outline and see where your points were, right? Like for example, I had less points overall, despite having a win than my teammate Male, right? But Male's somehow not in Worlds, right? It's just to me. I think there should be more slots to Worlds. I think should open up to top 32, and if they can't pay it out, to top 32, they can just have top 16, right? Being paid out, and then after that, they ramp up the prize money, and then the last 16 slots are just straight up points, right? And I think you would have an insane Worlds like that. But that's just that's just my opinion.
They can always give away in-game prizes for anyone they can't give cash to. It doesn't technically cost them anything, and they still get some kind of reward, I guess.
Maybe it's just their philosophy. They just want all people in Worlds to get some kind of cash payout, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but I
can
agree with Theo on this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and then push forward a little bit as well. So they're adjusting the new open structure for the 2022 season. Now I'll go over these and then we'll start with you, the Overmaster, kind of break down how you feel about this because this is a change. Whether it's significant or not, I'm not really sure. But open runs are now 14 games instead of the usual 28, 27, 28 games, right? So they
Yeah,
cut
it's
them in half.
28
Yeah.
with like
Yeah.
usually like a couple game for buys this season.
Yeah, that's right. And if you had Masters in a month, you can cash in that token to get two free wins, two buys. The Opens in our 14 games and then win 10 of those games, and you qualify for finals on Sunday. So you're still gonna be able to play Friday through Saturday at your own pace whenever you want to get your games in. They could be in one lump sum. You could space them out across 2 days. You could however you want to do it. But now they're 14 games instead of 28, and if you go 10 and X, it doesn't matter if you go 14 and 0 or 10 and 4. As long as you get 10 wins, everybody is automatically qualified for day 2. Unlike now, where only the top 64, which you could normally see periodically through the day. People will kind of find out if like X and 8, X and 9 would be the cutoff, and then kind of see where those are with the tiebreakers. The other part is that each player may do up to 2 open runs. Only your best record of the 2 is counted towards the advancing to Sunday's play. So now you still have a chance of playing full 28 games, but you have your 14 run, and then if you don't like that run, let's say you go 9 and 5, then you can run again and maybe make it with your second run. Now, if you do a 12 and 2 and you want to go for a quote unquote better record for a better seat, oh yeah, I guess it would count the higher one anyway. So you could still do your 2 runs if you want. And then the finals are still played on Sunday. The finals are going to be single elimination, best of 3 matches, with a number of rounds determined by the number of players who qualify by winning on day 1. So that's how they're adjusting. It's not a cutoff at top 64. If they end up having like a top, 72, then they'll play that out all the way to top 4. All right, Overmaster, what do you think about this change?
It definitely makes it more accessible. Notably, you can, like, let's say you go, you get your 10 wins, right? But you hate the deck that you brought. You don't think it's actually that good. You can actually take a different deck on your second run, which is pretty sick in my opinion. And then like if you do better or something, you get that burn. No, you do if whichever record did better, you still use that deck, right? They still use that deck in the qualifying stage. One thing that you haven't mentioned yet is the way they do tiebreakers. It's kind of odd. It's weird, but instead of doing the which in the previous like Swiss rounds, the asynchronous format, they used to be when you faced a player, it was their you get a certain amount of points for face when you face them, like it was their record at the time you face them, which led to a pretty toxic way to qualify and try to beat the tiebreakers by playing later. And I'm glad they got rid of that. Like that's I like normally that didn't actually matter that much, but I've actually done it before. I have played later and gotten in like on the tiebreakers, like on an 18 and 10 performance, and because I played later, right? And some
No,
people
that
can't.
that 100% mattered. 100% mattered. I don't know who said it didn't. Like, I guess Direwolf was saying it doesn't matter, but yeah, John and I
No,
have talked about it a couple times
Darwolf
on the
never
show.
said that. No,
Okay.
never said that. So other people were saying that it can it cannot matter sometimes based upon like where, like for example, you could face somebody, you could play like during Pacific hours or something like that, right? And it not matter as much compared to when like you get the tail end of Friday versus the tail end of Saturday, I guess. But it still mattered when you played though. I'm glad they got rid of that because now your Masters rank, your rank in Masters actually kind of does the tiebreaker, right? It depends on how far. It depends on your ranking, either the previous season, previous month, or the current month in Masters.
For
So
the
like if
format
you're
of the tournament.
yeah, so if you're ranked like 20 or something like that, and your opponent was ranked like 30, you would get the better tiebreaker over them. And I think that matters for like placings, or like I can't remember how it matters. Well, how does it matter again? Geez, I got to bring up the
I'm trying
article.
to see in the article. I'm not seeing that part of it, to be honest with
I
you.
read this as well, and I was confused by it. Like, I'm like, wait, where does the tiebreaker?
So
I think it's like if not 64 players qualify, then they'll get the
Right,
rest filled out by the 9-win players, and then that's where the tiebreakers come in, right?
yeah. Okay, maybe.
I think.
I'm glad you
Or
guys
maybe if
understood
there's
that,
an
'cause-
extra round or something in the top,
Yeah,
like
or
top,
or
like
it's like
684,
yeah.
and it matters there. I got confused by it. Other people were describing it to me like many times, and I got confused. I don't know. My
It all
brain's
makes
not big enough
sense.
for it.
Like when the first tournament comes out, we'll figure it out.
Sure. Okay. The one thing I will say on the Mastery Medallion is it does give you a free win on your open runs. So you technically only have to win 9 games if you use your Mastery Medallion. And you can win those by getting Masters in any of the 3 formats the month prior to the Open, or that actual month of the Open. Correct, John? I believe you were one of the people that was like, I want the alternate art this time. So you grinded the Masters before you queued.
Yeah, I'm like a perpetual bronzer, like until the night before these tournaments usually.
Yep. So keep that in mind as well. So that's kind of neat. I'm glad you broke that down, because honestly, I'm still kind of cross-eyed on that, but I think those are the big changes. The article does have all the dates. I'm not going to go over them here on the podcast because you're not going to write them down anyways. You're probably in the gym or listening or driving or something. So, but where the next one is in March, it's going to be Expedition, and then we'll go Draft Throne Expedition, Draft Throne Expedition, etc., etc. The last chance qualifier, 1 seat at the Eternal World Championship, will be awarded via a special invitation only last chance qualifier event taking place November 12th and 13th. The only requirement is to have made it to at least one open final during the year. Just making it to Sunday once gives you an additional shot at qualifying for the world towards the end of the season. So once again, rewarding consistent players, people that kind of get there. Anyone that's been in the competitive scene knows, like, second place really does feel like first loser sometimes. You're like, I was so close to getting the invite. It's like, yeah, man, but you still got money and won. It's like, but I didn't get the invite. So
I mean, the invite is like a lot of different. There's a difference in cash that's astronomical.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. So and all right, cool. So let's change gears just a scotch. And once again, now Eternal really trying to like cater, I want to say free to play friendly, but obviously you got to pay for this, but just kind of getting everyone in the community involved. They created these tournament starter bundles, which are kind of they're like competitive decks that you can buy from the store that do have like actual designs catered towards competitive play, where you can play these with just a couple of cards and immediately go into it. And to help you out, they're even throwing in additional shiftstone with them when you buy these. And I've already had people I've seen on various discords, people kind of breaking down the value of them. I believe the Stone Scar one is quote unquote the best value out of all of them. But, I like this, whether they're good or not. I just like the fact that they're doing something like this where new players can automatically start jumping into competitive play. Obviously, it's not really pay to win, but it lets you catch up essentially by paying a little bit of money. And I think it's fine. I don't think these decks are backbreaking, but anything that gives someone a leg up. Granted, I mean, Watch Wolf, definitely made their claim winning an open, I think, after playing the game for about 5 weeks. So there's that to be said. What do you think of these competitive tournament starter bundles, Theo?
I think I don't know how good they are on actual value, but I know that if you're just looking for the alt arts, they're way too expensive. They're just not something I'm looking to get, right. It's like 6,000 gems for all 3 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is that's just like, I think it works out to be like $52 for like 3 alternate arts. Like, that's just an insane amount. Like, I get it for the new players. You might look for it and get a like an okay deck. I don't even know. I probably should be on the site, right? And looking, but like I actually don't. I don't know how good the decks are, right?
I think they're medium. Like I think they all have like room for improvement, but I think they're like kind of okay for what they are, right? I don't mind the. I think these are like Jedi said, it's like a decent way for brand new players that want to get straight into competitive to like they have like a path to spend like a fixed amount of money and kind of like almost get there. And I think if they've just played, a little bit of the game on the side, they might be able to have enough shiftstone to like make just the right changes to make the deck like actually competitive. I like it's kind of a shame that they put these alt arts in there, like you just kind of said, because I think for enfranchised players like us, it's like just a hard pass. So it's kind of a shame in that regard, but whatever. It's also nice that they included some campaign cards in these, which normally they're the only way to get those is to buy the full campaigns. So it's like you kind of, some of these players can kind of save extra money if one of the cards they needed was like in a full campaign, and like they almost have a deck with those cards. Like I think it's really interesting that they're doing this, and I hope they do kind of more stuff like this. But I mean, I'm kind of with Theo. Like I'm never gonna get one of these myself. But
yeah, I mean, me
nice
either.
idea.
But being fully transparent, I mean, we know they can't really like, hey, here's the deck that won the last tournament, right? Because one, they're typically gonna nerf. One, they're typically gonna nerf the cards from that, and two, there's a high chance that there's no way they could price it effectively, right? Where they're not losing money on that deal. So I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be completely backbreaking, right? But at the same time, I guess from a company standpoint.
They're certainly not losing any money by putting these into the game, though. Like they're quite expensive.
Fair.
I don't actually know whether or not like the direct ratio, like shiftstone and whatnot. Like you do get, like, for example, in the like the Stone Scar aggro one, you get like you get 3 Inferno Phoenixes, which is pretty nice. Right, and then
oh wow, that is really good.
Right, and then in the Turu you get like a Nostrix, and you get a Stormhalt plating, and you get something else. Wish it was just like more than one Stormhalt plating, but like, and then
the Stone Scar one actually isn't that bad, man. You get 3 Hound Masters, you get League Explorer, which I mean I get it's uncommon, but still. You get, let me see, 3 Rat Kings, 2 Cremates, 4 Impending Dooms, and 3 Inferno Phoenixes. Jeez.
League Explorer is a campaign card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like what John was saying. Like, you're getting kind of a little snippet of a campaign card for a discount there, I guess, so to speak. So, I don't know. I think it's, like, I mean, once again, I'm bringing it up because not everyone, like, for people like the 3 of us that draft, these cards are pretty much irrelevant. Like limited players never need Shiftstone. We have more than enough Shiftstone. So I mean,
Alex has like 1.5 million Shiftstone or something.
Yeah, I mean, even me, I've resorted to normally when I craft something, I craft it in premium status because it's like I'm gonna eventually open the regular one at some point. So whatever. But I mean, I think it's cool. Right. Anything that Direwolf is doing to incorporate new players and more players to the game, I think it's great. Like, for example, when they did the vault thing, right? It's hard to tell someone, especially people that have played card games before, when you're like, hey, pick up this game, and they're like, well, I want to build a collection, yada yada. But when you tell them, hey, as soon as you log in, you get 400 cards and half of them are decently, competitive playable, then that's a lot more appealing. And we all know you just need a deck that wins more than it loses, and you'll actually generate enough gold and Shiftstone to be able to do what you want. So I don't know. I think it's neat. So I just wanted to give him a pat on the back. And just because you did mention campaign cards and us being able to play with them, again, shout out to Direwolf. They rocked the last Scion draft. Every archetype was viable. They put the campaign commons and uncommons in there, so we finally got to play with them in a limited set format. So thank you for that. Scion drafting is still one of my favorite ways to play Eternal, and the fact that they knocked the last one out of the park is awesome. So thank you, Direwolf. You guys rock. Theo, are you a big Scion drafter?
I actually did. I have not enjoyed any of the Scion drafts formats.
No kidding. Oh, please.
I'm
Dish,
sorry.
Man, tell us. No. Nothing to apologize, man. By all means, tell us. Why don't you like them?
if you just draft Shadow, you literally win every single time, and in every single format too. You just draft Shadow, and you just get a 7 win no matter what. It's
Okay, so I will 100% agree with you. Not the last one, the one before that, where you just force Shadow and you're gonna get there. But I don't feel like that was the case in the last one. John, did you get that vibe from the last one?
Like I think you can't go wrong forcing Shadow, even on the last one. But like I felt like this last one was way more balanced.
Yeah, I did like this particular Cyan format a lot more. There's a lot more archetypes, like there's actual aggro strategies which you could draft, which was pretty nice. I haven't seen that even in like regular draft formats. Like it wasn't quite as apparent. Like the you could draft like slightly aggressively slanted decks with like a slight top end, but like there's like literal like aggro decks, right? You could actually draft, but I still think that like I mean I wanted my alt arts, and I drafted a few like non standard standard decks that were kind of cool, but like they didn't do as well, and then didn't do that well, and then I was like, well, I just want to get my alt arts, and I just drafted Shadow, and boom, I just had my alt arts. It's just just a
Yeah,
thing.
hey, fair enough, man. I could get behind that. So you like the Scion idea, you just would like it if Shadow wasn't so overpowered in every single one of them.
I think that one thing that Cyan tries to mimic but doesn't mimic very well is the cube experience, right?
Mhm.
From Magic, where you get like you put together a bunch of cards that are from super different sets and and you draft them. But in cube, you can only draft one of each card, right? In general, some cubes are different, but most cubes are you draft one card, one copy of each card, and I think that lends itself well to that, and that's not something that Cyan Draft is doing, and I think that it's just you sometimes get really lucky and get like 4 of a card, and you're just like, ooh. But like other times you're just you can't put together an archetype, and I think that if they spread it out a little bit more,
Mm.
maybe there's just not enough cards in the game. Who knows, right?
Mm.
I feel like we're getting there though, where you could actually have a legitimate cube, and I know you actually run a cube, do you not? Or
Uh,
you
I,
used to?
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while just because I only stream 2 days a week now. And we got to the point, like for a while there, we were getting consistent 8, 9, 12 people playing. But the last couple times I did, we only had 3 or 4 people playing.
Oh,
So
you're on
I
fire,
felt like it
yeah.
wasn't popular enough, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
that's
Fair
fair
enough.
enough.
Yeah, but I definitely know what you're talking about because I think at one point I either had Roland or Vara Tribal in one of my Scion drafts. I was like, yep, guess I'm just picking every Vara. So fair enough. All right. Well, I think that's going to do a wrap as far as the general outlook. So, as a couple of closing statements and stuff, just to wrap up the show, do you have any advice out there for up and coming organized players that are aspiring to take down an open? I mean, you obviously work with the team and you're a great player yourself. Do you have any tips without giving your competition the advantage or the edge? What kind of things do you think you can generally give people as they're preparing for the competitive scene next year?
I know it's hard potentially to get involved in the community when there's a lot of established people and folks and whatnot, but like go to the regular Discord, find out like watch watch podcasts and whatnot, or not watch, listen to podcasts, but try to get more involved in the community, especially in voice calls. That's what really improved my gameplay and still improves my gameplay to this day. You don't necessarily have to just like come on to like, for example, the WSG Discord and just listen to us uh, complain at each other for like for the entirety of it. Uh, we love each other, okay, but like so sometimes we get a little heated. It might turn off some people. But like I, that's how I learned how to play at a top level. Is just you don't necessarily have to uh hang out with the top level players of the game. Just get some of your friends together to do some drafts in a voice call while you're sharing your screen on Discord, and or building decks and whatnot. So that's my advice, is to
Yeah, it's your
or
typical
you could join
Moorhead.
the WSG Discord. I'm always there. Some of the notable top level players are there. Jedi was there at one point. But like Spiff, Apple Chips, like Prac, like I can't name them all. A collector joins now. Like we've got some insane players. Straight so like 3 world competitors and previous world competitors as well. Just we have a lot of players in there. And if you want to just stop by, like you can. You can, and you could learn a lot from just being in voice with people. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I can't stress that enough. I mean, I do that with John. We just sit there and hang out and talk, but there's plenty of times where I'm like, this is what I want to do. And John's just looking at me. I feel like he's virtually slapping me through Discord. He's like, why would you even consider doing that? I'm like, my bad. So, but I definitely know what you mean as far as getting a little heated, because the other day we were doing a draft and someone who will not be named was drafting with us. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to take student. And John was like, yeah, student's great. And they're like, student's garbage. Why are you even considering it? Like, that's such a bad card. It's overrated. You need to do this, and that. And it was like, John and I both kind of like side-eyed each other. Like, we understand where you're coming from, but we feel like you're way wrong.
Yeah.
No, but I totally agree. Like, I upped my game a lot this year by doing the same kind of thing. Like, it's all about like hearing those other lines and other perspectives on cards, and like, just like you said, like while drafting and while brewing, I think are ideal times to do it. And then like also during gameplay, obviously too, but because of the timer and stuff during the gameplay can be a little more difficult to to do live with too many people on the call.
I always say, right, and obviously none of us do it, right? I hope at least, for integrity reasons. But like in a tournament, let's say you could be off in a Discord somewhere, random call somewhere that's away from prying eyes, right? In like a random tournament, you could have one other person maybe, but anything more is just it just clouds the judgment too much. Like I'd rather, I would rather play alone anyway, because I get higher focus that way. But like, you're never like there's definitely too many cooks in the oven. It's actually, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Like I'm not gonna deny that it's really fun to have like a bunch of people yelling at each other over some line that may or may not happen, right? Especially, but you do go to time a lot.
Yeah, what typically what the EJ team does, we end up all jumping on a Discord call together and stuff, and then when people start jumping into their games, they kind of mute out, play their games, and then in between rounds or just when they need a break, we'll hop back in voice and kind of just chit chat to decompress, and then be like, all right, well, I'm gonna get back on my games.
Yeah,
I
did that
in
in
tournaments.
Worlds.
I can't stand talking or hearing. I just need silence, basically.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I even didn't even. I used to listen to music while playing these tournaments, right? But I find that even that is just too much noise and distraction for me.
Yeah.
I even did that. I didn't in Worlds. Like I muted myself, share my screen so that other people can watch it, right?
Mhm.
But like I muted myself and like there you go, or and come back in to decompress, or after a bad round, or and also like. And the reason why you share your screen is so that when you pop back in, you're not giving any spoilers out that people already know, right? Even if they've been watching the stream at this. And
Well, I mean, in day 2, it's not guaranteed that your teammate makes the feature match. So yeah, we do the same thing. Whenever people are in day 2, they normally exactly what you said. They'll mute themselves and turn off their headphones or whatever, but they'll share screens. So we're all in there doing like play-by-play commentary for the team. Be like, oh god, or like yes, and then
he screwed up here. Oh no, what happened? It's like, and then you come back in. You come back in. And it's like, yeah, you should have made this play. It's like, what? okay, maybe like I'll go back over and watch it, but like I don't know what I was doing. Come on.
Well, that's the good thing too about doing it that way is that we kind of get the oh my gods out of the way before they come back in the chat, you know. So instead of like bombarding them with stuff, we're all like John's great about that. He's like, bro, I have no idea why he even thought about doing it. What was going through his mind? That was so whack. And then when he comes back, he's like, yeah, man, like you know, you did the best you could. That was a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. I made some sick
Sweet.
plays in this tournament though, so there wasn't a lot of that. Wasn't a lot of that, except for like in maybe my first round. I don't know, against Ronan X. I come back in to the call, and they're like, "Yeah, you should have done this." I was like, I don't even remember what was happening during that time. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. Bro, I slept since then. What? I untapped. Like, no, I forget everything from untap to untap. All right, cool. But all right, Theo, I think that was a great show. I think we'll call it here, man. I really do appreciate the time and having you coming on the show and kind of doing a slightly off kilter topic. Not kilter, but standard. I think definitely having a great season. Looking forward to seeing you play again in the upcoming season, man. It's delightful to watch. I learn something new every time I watch people like you, like IP, like Stormguard, all these great players, and then obviously the usual suspects, Bopatito, Sunnyvale, you know, Kalibovich. He's kind of moved on from doing content from Eternal, but he's still making day 2 strong and stuff. So a lot of great people to watch and enjoy. So thanks for that, man. Really appreciate it. Good luck in the upcoming season. Thank you so much for coming on the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I guess do you want to just kind of mention real quick, like for kind of other parts and other parts of like the World's experience you had? Like I know you were on some other podcasts and stuff.
Oh yeah, shoot, thank you. I meant to do that. Yes, please. Where
Those
else can they
listening that
catch your
don't know.
interviews?
Oh, like where you can find me, like social media.
Yeah, well,
and
that
things
as
like
well.
this, so like I was on the Blackhouse podcast. It's not released yet. It probably will be by the time this gets uploaded.
Shoot, I'm uploading it right now as soon as we're done, man.
Oh,
I'll
okay,
be-
okay. Well, never mind then. Anyway,
That's right.
I'll be on the World's
We're-
interview. I did my World's interview. That'll be there when the first Open goes there. Like I was also on the Farming Eternal podcast, talking about 4 faction stuff like we did here.
oh well, shoot,
and
my bad.
there were some there were some health issues preventing me from streaming, but I think most of those have cleared up. Like I should be able to get back to maybe not regularly, but semi-regularly streaming. I just haven't fired it up yet. That's twitch.tv/TheOvermaster. If you want to see me punt live on stream as a World's competitor, you too can win Worlds by punting like I do.
Yeah, make sure you hit that notification thing for Theo's stream, because that way I know when those are happening.
All right, the Farming Eternal Winter Egg came out. Darn it, I thought we were gonna beat that one too. But yeah, all right, you can check them out on Farming Eternal Master Draft with TheOvermaster. Fine. At least we'll beat the backlash. I know that. I think. Hold on, let me double check. Maybe they posted it already. Hold on.
Yeah, and you qualified for Worlds.
I played with
from Draft Open, right?
Well, it wasn't uploaded today, and I maybe I don't know, but I played Battlefield with GHP earlier. Oh, no, not Battlefield. Borderlands with GHP earlier on. So yeah, he wasn't editing it. So then, but
Wait, is it the new Borderlands or the Borderlands 3?
Borderlands 2. We were playing Borderlands 2. We're going through. We're gonna go through them. He's played all of them.
Sick.
He's played all of them. I haven't played through them, but I do own all of them. So we're gonna do some.
Yeah, there's a new standalone one coming out sometime soon. I'm excited about that one. It's like Tina's D&D spin-off or whatever.
That's why GHP wanted to. One of the reasons why he wanted to go through it, right, is he wanted to redo them all, so he gets the storyline, so that the standalone is better for him, right?
Gotcha, nice. I don't know. Those are the only first-person shooters I could play. Like I've done Apex Legends with John, and I just target practice. I'm just the decoy. My reaction speed is nowhere near what it was when I was younger. So I'm like, I think I hit him, John, and then at the end of the game, it shows how much damage you did, and I did like 52 points, and John's like 600. I'm like, oh, maybe I didn't.
I don't generally like battle royale games. Like they're I don't know. I like the arena style games like Halo. Like I used to be like a very very good Halo player way back in Halo 2, but obviously I'm old now, so
you tried
no longer
Halo?
the case. Infinite? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I've
kind of sweet.
I like it. There are a lot of problems with it, and there's not enough content. But that's what it is, right? Right. That it's a free to play game and experience. I've yet to play the campaign all the way through, so the campaign it felt fine. I feel like there's a lot of optimization problems with the game, though. So like, I'll be like, for example, it'll crash. Especially on Ryzen processors. On PC, so you'll get crashes every now and then, which is unbelievable, unheard of. I don't get crashes on this computer. Like what? I haven't crashed like a single time in another game. Maybe I crashed one time when I was sharing my screen for Doom Eternal on like some ray tracing high quality shit. Like I and it only crashed once, and I was able to do it again. So I don't know, and that's the only time this computer has ever crashed, or a game has ever crashed on this computer is Infinite.
Wow.
Something wrong.
All right, fair enough.
Sorry.
Before we get too far off a tangent, no, it's totally good. It wouldn't be a Jedi streamer podcast if we didn't have some kind of tangent. So, plus, I'm sure someone out there is still like, out of our 10 listeners, someone number 9 and 8 are probably like, oh yeah, I play that too. All right, cool. But thanks again, Theo, for being on the show. Really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Definitely catch out his other interviews on the Backlash and Forming Eternal. And Godspeed to you guys in the upcoming organized play. You'll see me in the queues. Hopefully I am not a free win for you, but hey, best of luck. May the best Eternal player win. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, as always, happy gaming.
Good night.